Hello everybody, today for you I have a Quickdraw Dark World deck. Now this is an idea I came up with after talking to an old friend of mine who was looking to get into the Edison format. Now he was traditionally a big Dark Worlds fan, but he was more of a Dark Worlds fan after they started getting support like from Gates and such. So I explained to him, well, Dark Worlds don't exactly work in the same way they do in the formats you know, but they do exist, and I'm going to give my best effort to make them playable. Now this deck takes advantage of an interesting interaction between Drill Warrior and your Dark World monsters. Now you can discard them with the Drill Warrior to trigger their effects, when Dark World monsters traditionally will miss timing when they're discarded if it's by cost. So this makes this interaction quite cute, because you can discard, say, your Brow, draw your card, banish your Drill Warrior, and then you can get the Brow back next turn and do it again. So effectively it'll be a +1 every turn. You do this and you actually start to get value out of your Dark World cards, unlike you would otherwise. So this does look a lot like your traditional Quick Draw deck. You have your 3 Quick Draw Synchrons, your 2 Dandelions. The Dandelions can be discarded by the Quick Draw, they can be Foolish Burial, they can be Card Destruction, they can be discarded by Drill Warrior. So Dandelion's really a card you want to see in this deck. You have Debris Dragon, only one, because you only really want to see the Debris Dragon if you have Dandelion. You can use it with a level 2 to go into Iron Chain Dragon, which should be in this extra deck right now. So we'll take that into consideration. Alright. Now you also play your Nimble Raikou engine, of course, very popular at this time. Milling Dark Worlds is not necessarily a bad thing, because you can get them back with your Drill Warrior. You do want to set up for your Pot of Avarices. Now I do have 2 more Pot of Avarices down here. These are cards I had considered playing. I might consider pumping the Pot of Avarice up to 2 because it's such a powerful card. Tons of mill targets too, guys, between the Volcanic Shells, the Dandelions, Plague Spreader. Now you play a Sangan. Sangan is a very versatile card in this deck, being able to search Quick Draw, Dandelion, Debris Dragon, Hamster, your Brows, your Shells, really whatever you need. So I don't always play Sangan in decks nowadays, but in this deck it really is a utility or a toolbox for any single card in your deck that you might need. This brings us to our Dark World engine. I decided to keep the Dark World engine kind of light. You don't want to draw a ton of Dark Worlds unless you have something like Card Destruction on you, or you're already into your Quick Draw play. Now you have to get to that Quick Draw play before these cards can get insane value. Otherwise, you're just discarding them with like Drag Down, which we'll talk about in a bit. So 2 Brow, when he's discarded, you draw a card. 1 Khaki, when he's discarded, you destroy a monster on the field. I did consider also playing Gren, but I feel like just popping a monster it's going to be more useful than destroying a back row 9 times out of 10. 2 Silva. Silva, when discarded, specials itself, has 2300 attack. It's kind of your beat stick. It gets you a pretty decent sized body on the board after you discard it with Drill Warrior, making it pretty useful. Because you often don't want to be attacking with your Drill Warriors, because people are playing like 3D Prison in a lot of decks right now. Next up's Volcanic Shell. Volcanic Shell has synergy with your Quick Draws, of course. It has synergy with your Drag Downs and your other cards that work well with your Dark Worlds. It seems like a good addition to the deck, especially in a Quick Draw deck. Morphing Jar. Now Morphing Jar is a strong card in this deck. It has a lot of value. You have tons of cards you want discarded. Tons of advantage can be gained off this card. It's something you want to see. It's something you want to play. One Plague Spreader, another good mill target for your deck, allow you to go into synchro plays outside of your synchron. This card give you access to things like Bryanak, Black Rose, and other useful synchros. One Gores, of course. One Dark Arm, of course. It's a dark deck. 3 Drag Down to the Grave. Drag Down to the Grave is a great card. You can both players reveal their hand, and then each player chooses one from the opponent's hand to discard. Ideally, you would only do this when you have a Dark World or a Volcanic Shell or a Dandelion in your hand to discard. But it gives you knowledge of your opponent's hand, which is always valuable. Yeah, it's really it's a strong card. It's kind of awkward because what if your opponent's hand is not something you want to discard? Maybe you don't want to allow them to draw into a potentially better card. One Card Destruction. This is extremely powerful. If you draw two cards worth discarding, then all of a sudden Card Destruction just becomes a blowout. Tons of advantage to get into, tons of good cards to draw into. Heavy Storm, MST, Brain Control, Staples. The one Pot of Avarice, as I said, I do really want to fit in that second Pot of Avarice, especially with the milling and what the combos. You do a Quickdraw combo, you're getting a lot of cards into the grave. Of course, Foolish Burial. You have Volcanic Shell as target, Dandelion, great addition, and one of each back row. I do want to play some back row in this deck because it is still a ideal opening play set hamster kind of deck. One back row with that goes very well. Now you could also play Dark World Dealings. Personally, I'm not a big fan of that because people are playing a lot of cards they want in their grave. You don't want to be discarding your opponent's Malicious. You don't want to be discarding your opponent's Dandelion, Plague Spreader, or anything like that. So I really would not recommend playing that. You'd also have to increase your Dark World monster count probably to make that worth it. Dark World Lightning is a really interesting card you could play. It's kind of like budget knock, Nobleman of Crossout. That allows you to trigger your Dark Worlds and stuff. Maybe side deck it, but I feel like I don't know. It can hit back row too. This card could be pretty good. Yeah, I would need to test that more myself. I'm always hesitant about playing a card like this though. You could consider that if they chain that back row, you don't even have to discard. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It kind of depends. Of course, you could play Gren in this deck, pop a back row and discard it. I don't feel like that's as valuable as popping a monster, and I don't personally feel like it's worth the slot. Maybe in the side deck. You could play more Browse, you could play more Sylvas. You really don't want to be seeing these cards in multiples though, unless you have something like Card Destruction. So I really feel like two's pretty good ratios for them. I've seen some lists play Beige. Not really a big fan of this card. Without Grapha, you don't really have a way to get value out of playing something like this. Yeah, I would probably put this Iron Chain in like right now. What would I take out? Maybe Colossal Fighter. You don't have a lot of ways of getting level 8 synchros. Maybe Stardust. I don't know. This is kind of a deck concept I threw together for my friend, hoping to get him into the game. I really hope you guys enjoy. Give it a shot. Please comment on how it goes for you. If you got any ideas, I'd love to hear them. So please toss a comment about those. Have a nice day.